Alrighty. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic, less known classic. This episode number 2459 and that was number 2353. This is the first of 3 straight comic corners, and then basically there'll be 2 more comic corners coming not long after this. Right after my reviews for Bleach and Jujutsu Kaisen. I have been informed today via Twitter that apparently Girlfriend stuff has been released, along with Goblin Slayer. Okay, so basically today I have to go through 5 anime. But like on Bleach, it's not going to last much longer, so that'd be fine. So, here we're discussing a character that I mostly discussed recently thanks to his reviews and jibs. So just excuse me for the book. That being Daredevil. We're discussing Daredevil Vsionaries by Frank Miller, Volume 3. Which collect issues from Daredevil 183 to 191. We also have in here Bizarre Adventures 28, along with What If. There's a couple What If issues in here. There is What If number 20 and 35. Mostly put exactly in the opening issue of this book. Now, by the way, this issue in the 183 and 184. Feature a guest star appearance by the Punisher, because right after these 2 issues, he later pops up in Peter Parker Took a Spider-Man, appeared there for a handful of issues before finally getting his own solo book. Yep. What exactly happens in these 2 issues? Well, in the case of 183, it's basically Daredevil taking on some how should I put this? Drug dealers. Yep. Punisher's happily here, and this lasts for a couple issues. And then in 185, the Kingpin returns at the last appearance in the book back in... Actually, his previous appearance was in Peter Parker Took a Spider-Man, it was 67. So, yep. It's mostly put a lot of the time Daredevil take on drug dealers. 186 is a trippy cover. Now, 184 has got this really interesting cover of basically Punisher using a gun. Which, by the way, he doesn't use a gun in the book at all. Not really. It was done for intimidation. It's basically Frank Miller with Claus Johnson to be intimidating people. Now, we also see in 186 the return of the Stealth Man. Well, we do see Wilbur Day, the original Stealth Man, along with Turk. Yeah, he briefly assumed the title of Stealth Man, where apparently he died at the end of this storyline. Yeah, he just captures, he takes a woman out a window and he somehow has hands on the Stuntman suit. I'm not sure how, but he did. Yeah, he was only Stuntman for like 1 issue. Yeah, he's only 1 issue, and then he's back to being Turk. 187 sees the return of Black Widow to the book. Yep. Been a while since he actually been in the book. Yep. Now, prior to this issue here, she last appeared in this book back in issue 165. And she's back here for 4 of the 5 remaining issues of Frank Miller's run for the book. Yep. And mostly put, we deal with the stick and the hand. That's mostly put what we have here. We also have death of a character named Craigie, who gets killed off in this issue 188. Yeah, he was assassinated by the hand. And I guess we also see the debut of the Chest. Yeah, the Chest. Basically, this group is basically a counter hand. That's most what this group is. They were founded by Daredevil's mentor, Stick, who shows up in the storyline. Yep. Also in these issues, we also have him proposing to Heather Glean, which doesn't go anywhere. Stick gets killed off in issue 189, though he comes back. Oh, he comes back, all right. If you're really curious, like he comes back. and Daredevil 225. Yeah, he comes back like not well. Actually, comes back in flashback, but he mostly comes back in the Wolverine issues, despite him being dead. Yep. In 190. Well, with this one, we 190. This issue is a key issue for Daredevil Comics because this is the issue where they resurrect Elektra, and she only had been dead for 9 months at this point. Yeah, she only got killed 9 issues part of this, and then she shows up wearing a white outfit. And Daredevil, here's the strange thing about Daredevil. After this issue, she has not seen Daredevil again for years. Yeah, so they resurrect Elektra. Yeah, she pops up very at the period in this issue here. She disappears from Daredevil's life. Her appearance is basically up until she appears in the Fall from Grace story arc. She's basically kind of in a way been moved away from Daredevil once, of course, aside from a guest star appearance in Daredevil 222. Yeah. Which I think is mostly like a flashback issue. Yeah, flashback appearance. With the exception of that, pretty much like right afterwards, she did popped up in, let's see, was it flashback? Yeah, flashback. So, I would say her next appearance will be in the Elektra Assassin miniseries. Yep, and she would finally return to the book properly. Well, even though, yeah, she did appear in 291 as an image, but I would say her proper return was basically in, let's see, wasn't that one? Yeah, her proper return was in the Fall from Grace story arc. So it's like, right after this issue, she does practically, outside of some flashback appearance, her next actual appearance is in Elektra Assassin, and the Elektra lives again in one shot. Also known by Frank Miller. Yep. Yeah, and pretty much basically, like, that's all she pretty much did between 190 and 319. That's all she did was appear in that miniseries in a one shot because all she did afterward was mostly appear in flashbacks. Yep. But that's pretty much the end of her in this book. But we're not done yet. Nope. There is still technically one more issue to discuss here. Frank Miller's last issue until 212. Yep, it's basically Daredevil taking on Bullseye. We have a few debut characters. Yeah. This was technically his last issue for a while until he came back for, I think it was like Daredevil 212. He came back later on to the book. Yeah, Daredevil, he would come back to the book with issue 219, 226, but he'll make a couple brief returns. Excuse me. It's almost like he left to focus on Elektra. Yep. That's pretty much what he did. Now, there was a couple what-if issues basically published in here. What if 28? What if Daredevil became Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And what if 35? What if Elektra lived instead of Bullseye killing her? Good explanation. What about Bizarre Adventures 28? Bizarre Adventures 28 features an appearance by Elektra. You have the collector's story here, which Frank Miller did write it. It's mostly put her basically being an agent. Yep. It's just a solo story for her, published in 1981. Like, did this come out, like, during the time, basically? Yeah, this is an early comic. They, for some reason, despite the fact it's coming between issues 175, 176, they published here in the third and last trade here. My guess is to not interrupt the flow of the trades. That's probably the reason why here. But absolutely, really good issues. Final thoughts on this run for Frank Miller. Now, we're not done overall Frank Miller, just basically for this run. It's a really good run, though the only thing that I think Marvel basically does keep this run in canon. They have there's a lot of praise for this run, but the one thing in particular that Marvel chose to ignore is how Battle and Jack Murdock was written in these issues. where he's going to be a very abusive father. Yeah, that was later ignored by the next writer. Yep. And if you're curious, who took over after Denny O'Neil left? This might surprise you. It was Denny O'Neil who took over after Frank Miller left. Yeah. But I'm going to give this trade here I'm going to give it a 10 out of, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Yep. Next up we have is basically a character I've discussed before, mostly in present-day stuff, never discussed older stuff for him mostly. We have Masterworks, Hero for Hire, Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, Volume 1. Yep. Now, yes, the series is called Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, or simply Hero for Hire. This series is infamous for having, like, 3 different names. First, it's Luke Cage Hero for Hire for the first 16 issues. And from 1749, it's simply Luke Cage Power Man. And from 50 to 125, it's Power Man and Iron Fist. But Luke Cage took the star here. The first issue mostly starts with him in prison. And you're thinking, why the heck is there? There's a flash that explains this. Because he was with another woman, and his best friend basically was jealous of the fact of that. So he framed it by playing drugs in his apartment. Yep, was Ben this stupid retcon to think it was diamonds? It was drugs. Did he forget about this issue? Yes, and then basically, like, he goes to prison. There's also this racist guard in these issues. Yeah, he's basically a recurring character in these issues, this racist guard who get killed off by issue 16 of this book. There's also the debut of Noah Borston. Noah Borston, if you're curious about this guy, he did return also for recent Luke Cage stuff. This is the guy who basically made Luke Cage, well, kind of basically give him the unbreakable skin. There is also the racist guard, Rackham. Oh boy, this guy is notorious racist. Yeah, he would constantly badger Luke Cage a lot, and he would appear a lot throughout these early issues. And then by issue 16, he's dead. Yep. So, yeah. Now his best friend, Willis Stryker, that's his name. He later adapted into Diamondback. No, not the character from Captain America. This was a completely different character. It was this weird gimmick that he had to adapt for reasons. Now, the writer for each, now Archie Goodwin is the creator of. Him and George Sacasa are credited for creating Luke Cage. George Sacasa would do the opening 3 issues of this book, along with issues 5, 7 through 12. Archie would only do the opening 4 issues, and he leaves. He got replaced by Steve Eckelhard, did from 515. They would have some co-writers for these issues. Issue 16 was Jerry Conway. For 14, 15 was Billy Graham. Tony Isabella does 15. And he does 16 by himself. Billy Graham himself, who was the artist for 415, he did basically 4, 6, 13, and 16. Yep. Which, this also was the first book they actually have like a page, basically, when these issues were released. Well, let me tell you when these issues were released. Well, we got from March 1972 to... The final issue was released in September 1973. And we get the debut of, like, well, Rackham himself, basically, after this opening issue, he would not returning into issue 14. Basically, just before the title of the series changed. Yep, as for the Warden, he would not returning into Power Man 22. Yep, Basically, in the way, first issue is basically good black exploitation stuff. I mean, the whole purpose of Luke Cage was to basically cash in the black exploitation craze of the early 70s. So why not? Now, of course, when he broke out, he basically, not long after that, he became a hero for hire when, of course, basically the Ryan tried to kill him. When he went through the process, first he turned it down, then he volunteered going through this tank where first he had to strip butt naked for this. You're probably thinking, does that for them kids? Actually, no. That actually not for him kids because he had a kid in the 2000s with Jessica Jones. Thank you, Bendis, for that. A woman he later married, which he's still married to today, and they only have one kid. Which is strange, though. Like, anytime any character in Marvel Comics has a kid, with the exception of Reed and Sue Richards, they only have one kid. I'm like, really? You don't want to have another one? I mean, look at Reed and Sue Richards. They have 2 kids, a son and daughter. So, like, right in the next issue, basically Luke Cage goes after Willis Stryker after establishing his own agents, his own private eye. We also debut of DJ Griffin. Who is his character? This is the guy who's the owner of the movie theater Luke Cage stays in. And as a matter of fact, this guy will become a recurring character in this book, but he'll become a long-term supporting character of Luke Cage from basically from issue forward. Yeah, and apparently he would be his building manager per se. D.W. Griffin, that's his name. Yeah, he would appear sporadically over the years. Yeah, he appeared mostly in the Hero for Hire book and Power Man. But, not long after the Power Man Fist book wrapped up, he, by 111, he appeared very sporadically, and then he returned for Al Ewing's Mighty Avengers when they basically moved into the movie theater as their base operations. But it's also the first appearance of the Gem movie theater. The Gem movie theater will become basically a main base of, it become basically the main base for Luke Cage. It was basically Luke Cage's home for quite some time into issue 63 of Power Man Iron Fist. Yeah, by the way, issue 1 was also a debut of a place known as Seagate Prison. Those of you like, that name sounds familiar. Didn't it pop up in one of those Marvel shorts? It did. It was the place where the fake manager went. And this is the place where Luke Cage basically, was sent to. Yeah. Would Seagate himself mostly been Luke Cage? Sporadically, but mostly put basically a return after Power Man Fist and Thunderbolts. Yep. And then, of course, basically, where Luke Cage would battle Willis Stryker, he fell through a skylight, which I brought this up several times. He had this exploding knife, and then he died. And then they came back in Defenders. Yes, Bendis basically brought this guy back. Somehow, someway, he was brought back. I don't know how, but he was. Yes. Oh, yeah, faked his death. Yeah, Bendis never gave proper explanation what the heck happened to him. No, seriously. He never gave proper explanation what the heck happened to Diamondback. He came back in Defenders. First came back in Free Comic Day All New Guardians of the Galaxy, which featured Defenders' backup story. And that was pretty much his return to comics. Yes. And when the book wrapped up, he appeared sporadically. His most recent appearance actually issued Wolverine. Okay, really? Yes, really. How did he die? Well, he basically got tricked up by his own exploding knife, and he died. And Luke Cage was not charged with basically killing him, because he killed himself. Yeah, issue 2 was also first appearance of Clara Temple. Clara Temple, Luke Cage's very first girlfriend, for a while in the book. Yeah, she basically was his girlfriend throughout a lot of the book. Yeah, until basically around issue 100 when she left him. Yep. You can almost say the first two issues basically get established in the book. And then we had the first original villain after Diamondback. We have Golden Mace. Oh boy, another racist character. You want to know how racist this guy is? This man murdered White Tiger's family, with the exception of his sister. Yeah, her whole thing with her is really weird. Yeah, and he basically first appeared in issue 3, and then he returned for Power Man number 23. Yeah. So yeah, issue 3 was his debut appearance. He is a guy with a mace as a hand. Yeah. So you have two racist characters. Issue 4 is a debut of the Phantom of Second Street's hand. Yeah. Yeah, a one-shot appearance for the character. Issue 5 is the first appearance of Black Maria. Yes. A chubby woman who became a recurring character in Luke Cage comics, still appearing this very day. And also appeared in a Luke Cage TV show played by, I think it was a woman from who was in Star Trek First Contact who played Lily. That's who played Black Maria. Yeah, she appeared in 5 and 10, and then she popped up sporadically. Her appearance has been very sporadic over the years, mostly. And then by issue 6, the debut of a guy named Ansel. Basically a one-shot character who he fought, and then then he fights a guy named, then we have issue 7, a Christmas issue. Issue 8 and 9 is a two-parter where we have Luke Cage versus Doctor Doom. Where basically Doctor Doom's still on a payday, so basically took one of the things from the Fantastic Four, flew to Latveria, beat the crap out of Doctor Doom, and said, "I'll pay you $200." Yes. You're thinking, oh, that's awesome, the fact he took on Doctor Doom. Oh, by the way, if you're really curious, Doctor Doom's previous appearance was in Thor 183. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Then by issue 10, we take on Senor Sanarte. If you're curious, is this guy still around? Well, he's popped up. He popped up for the following issue, and then he returned again to issue of Spider-Woman by Dennis Hopeless. Just about, good gosh, 8 years ago. Yeah, he pops up there again. He dies and then he comes back later, don't worry. Then by issue 12, we have debut of Chemistro. Yes. A character who has not made many appearances over the years. After this issue, he popped up in Power Man after this. His most recent appearance was actually in one of those Marvel Voices one-shot. Yeah, he's basically not that big of a character, but he does he appear in the next issue? No. And then finally a guy called Lion Fang. Well, I'll basically deal with a guy named Phil Fox, who was a Daily Bugle character, someone from Daily Bugle. Yeah, he was a character who just appeared in this very book, and he died in issue 14. Died the very next issue. Yeah, then Rocket comes back, and basically he's here to basically stir up trouble with Luke Cage, and then he dies with issue 16. Because he really wants to take Luke Cage back to jail, but not really. Then basically it's again. Then we have Stigito. Yeah, he's also not as big of a character. He appeared in this issue, and then he appeared in a couple more issues of Power Man a couple times after this. Yeah, he last appeared in Leave the Protector. That's pretty much it. It's a really good set of issues. Yes, aside from the fact we're two racist characters here, but it's the 70s. Of course, basically, we love it like that. But is it weird, though, the fact that Archie Goodwin, a legendary comic creator, legendary, and he creates Luke Cage, one of the awesomest characters. Now, Here's the strange thing about Luke Cage. Despite the fact he doesn't dress like this anymore, he still wears the yellow shirt. He still has the chain. But the only thing that he got rid of, the only thing he changed with the yellow shirt is the fact that it's short sleeve now. And he doesn't wear the bracelets anymore. He doesn't wear the tiara. But it was the 70s. Also, he's bald. Yeah, by the 2000s he was bald. Which, yeah. Some people would like that. And he's more a badass nowadays. He's sitting around the train. Also, he apparently kept the Wrecker's crowbar. Yeah. But awesomeness nonetheless. By the way, I give Marvel Masterworks Luke Cage here for Hire Volume 1 a 10 out of 10 because really good stuff here. And definitely looking forward to review more Luke Cage. Now, Luke Cage, with the very next one discussed for him, it'll be on to Power Man's era, which there's 2 more Masterworks of that one. And then it's on to 4 volumes of Power Man Iron Fist. And then it's on to the Cage book, which is in trade, which I was surprised this is actually, I thought for a long time it was in trade. And then I found, it is in trade, in 2 volumes. Awesome. And after the Cage book, then there is basically I think 2 miniseries, and that's it. Yep. Luke Cage is definitely a character to stay for a while. Daredevil is not going to be around very much longer. No, he's going to have a couple more rounds with him, and he's done. And I'm placing him with Marvel 2-1. I'm announcing now because basically he's not going very long. Yep, so yes, that's particularly a particular view. I'm going to do one more, and I'll rest my voice for a bit, and I'll work on Bleach. Okay, next view.